I'm going to be learning game development from scratch, and today I'm turning an empty, static room into my first playable prototype. By the end of the video, it'll have a character that moves, is animated, and the beginnings of a real game. Let's get right into it. What I'm first setting up here is the camera that started as a static camera like this, but eventually will follow the player around. Um, so I am messing around with the camera. Now the camera is kind of set so you can see pretty much the whole room. Now I'm going to be going into getting the player movement, where we can actually have the player move using WASD. So creating the character controller that has each button mapped to each direction that it would move into, up, down, left, right. And there's also a small little addition for a joystick, which I don't know if will be added there or not. Adding the character controller and putting all that binded to the player little capsule, creating the script for the player movement, where that is all the coding to get it to move, and then binding that to the player as well. Right here I'm changing out the box colliders on the door. Right now it's one giant box collider, and I'm going to be splitting it into half, basically so that the character, the player, can walk through the door without getting stuck like it's a wall, so they can walk right through it like there. So right now I'm looking through some different assets and some animations, importing these that I found on the Unity store from the K-Kit bundle. Highly recommend that whole bundle. That's an amazing creator, which gives me a lot of good assets that I can start to work with because I have no clue what to do in Blender. So once I imported that little knight there, I am now working in the animator to build its idle and its run functions, so that way when the character is not moving, they're still like breathing, standing still, but have some movement to them, not just awkwardly perfectly still. And then also adding the running animation, so that they looks like they're walking or running depending on their speed, and then tying all that so that they go back and forth. So if it's able to, if it's not running, it's idle. If it's not idle, it's running. Tagging that all to the player, so that way all of that is bound correctly, and just testing it out, and it looks to be working, but making some slight changes. At this point I realize that he is floating, and so I'm going to try and put him as close as I can to the ground, so it looks like he's actually stepping on the ground as opposed to floating on the ground, changing his spawn point so that he spawns where he needs to, and then just testing everything out with the animations and walking around. After I had the night animation down, I wanted to kind of play around with some of the other assets and see what else we could build with, just to get some other items and some props into the scenery. So I imported that little guardrail thing there and the barrels, trying to get those to line up, and then duplicating those to kind of like put them like in the corner behind this little wall like storage, and just kind of putting all that together just to add a bit more and play around with all of these assets. Still very new to moving them around, so it's very awkward. And then testing out the scene, and realize that I can run right through all of those newly placed assets because I did not add any box colliders. So after adding the box colliders to everything, adjusting that so that way it looked somewhat correct, and I haven't added the jump animation, so I can't really get on top, but I can't walk right through. Stay tuned for the next video where I make our night player pick up gold off of the ground. Thanks for watching, thanks for following along. I have a bunch more of these videos coming. I have hours and hours and hours and way too long of footage of me editing all this stuff. So if you want to chime in, give me your opinions, give me your thoughts, give me ideas. I'm all for it. I appreciate it. This is gonna take a really long time, and that's okay. I'm learning, I'm having fun, and hopefully I'll be able to make a game at the end of all this. Thanks. Like, subscribe, follow, hit all the buttons. Have a great day.